was a cold offering of meats, salmon, salads, cheeses, vegetables, and dips. It had taken her, Aunt Maddie, and Lix nearly all morning to put the food together and decorate the table, but it was worth it. She sat back now and admired all their hard work. The most important thing was the chocolate cake surrounded by miniature gingerbread houses, which her younger siblings Gray and Lucy had made yesterday. It had become a tradition that those two would make the cake, and Tam had to admit they were getting better at it with every passing year. This one was fantastic. Seb had been in charge of the bakery, snack and drink run. He got the easy job because he was still working at the pub until late last night. I took a call from a frantic bride yesterday. Tam glanced at her aunt. She wants to know if there's any chance we could schedule a tiny wedding next month. Maddie blew out a breath. Geez, I don't know. We're booked right up until April, aren't we? Almost 6 years ago, Maddie and Tam had come up with the idea to turn the old farm into a wedding venue. Maddie had been desperate to find something that could sustain the family and keep it together. The farm was on 150 acres, with a weed-filled garden, one barn, some broken-down sheds, a few grapevines, and a dam as big as a lake. Tam had been only 19 at the time, but she had thrown herself into the project without hesitation. All the years of hard work had paid off, and now Carrington Farm was a much sought-after venue, and they were generally booked out months in advance. I feel really sorry for this girl, though, Tam continued. She had her dream wedding planned, but right before the big day, the venue she'd booked went under, and she lost her deposit. The next venue she booked cancelled, and now everywhere else is booked up. Maddie nodded sympathetically. Let me think about it, she said. How tiny is tiny? They've cut it down to their immediate family, her mum, her best friend, and the groom's brother. She said that it didn't need to be big or special, they just want to get married. Well, every wedding is special, no matter the size. Let's have a look at the bookings after lunch and see what we can do. Okay. Tam nudged her brother in the shoulder. Don't worry, it'll be done before the cricket starts. I'll hold you to that, Seb said with a nod. After lunch, Tam and Maddie headed to the office to look at the bookings, while the rest of the family cleared away the remnants of lunch. Then they all assembled on the flat green lawn at the front of the house for the Christmas cricket match. The day was warm, and Tam sat with Rory in her lap under the dappled shade of the large peppercorn. Gray bowled and Seb swung his bat, missing the ball entirely as it sailed past and slammed into the wickets. Seb sank to his knees dramatically and shouted, "No!" Rory laughed while Gray and Lix whooped in victory. Tam smiled. Seb was good at nearly everything, except cricket. The day and the match wore on with laughter and lemonade. After dinner, Tam picked up her keys from the bowl on the kitchen bench. Her sister Lucy peered up from the fridge. Not staying for the movie? Tam shook her head. Nah, I wanted to catch up with some friends. Your loss. You'll be missing the most quintessential Christmas movie, Lucy said, as she grabbed the orange juice. Okay, which one? Your favourite. Die Hard. Damn. Told ya. Lucy laughed. See you later then. Don't overdo the popcorn. Remember what happened last time, Tam called, as she shrugged into her leather jacket and headed to the back door. Her red motorbike, an original 1969 Triumph Bonneville, was parked in the backyard underneath a shady willow. Tam settled on the seat, turned the key, and slowly rode out the driveway. The sun had set behind the hills, but the sky was still filled with the afterglow of orange, yellow, and pink. Tam turned left at the gate and headed further out of town. The gums that lined the uneven bitumen road were bathed in a rosy light. Not far from Turpin Hill, she turned down a dirt track and kept going, passing the no-through road sign. Tam rode past an open, rusty metal gate and followed the dirt driveway that snaked through the clumps of eucalypts until the small cottage came into view. She parked in the front garden and walked to the blue front door. It opened before she had a chance to knock. I was beginning to think you weren't going to make it, a deep voice said from the shadowed doorway. Tam smiled. I said that I was coming, she said, and she stepped into his waiting arms and kissed him.